What is a bad neighborhood? It's never a bad neighborhood. It's a neighborhood that the city needs to put more money into, put more resources into. Changing the price of the rent in that neighborhood is not what fixes a neighborhood. I'm Eben Haines. I'm a painter from Boston, and we're here in my studio. So I grew up in Boston. I grew up in Jamaica Plain and then went to Mass Art and have lived around here for a long time. We moved into the studio probably 3 years ago after our old studio was bought by a developer and subsequently torn down and all the other artists were evicted. My paintings are a lot about history and about kind of our inability to separate ourselves from history, and a lot of the development that's happening around building is kind of trying to separate ourselves from history and say, like, this is new and this is all that exists and you should pay a lot of money for it. My paintings kind of try to evoke this timelessness that says, like, these ideas are not new. This is not something novel. It's something that's existed for a long time, and this is just like a different version of that. My show at the ICA is kind of create this space that is this neglected, dilapidated space that's starting to fall down, but it's thinking about the people who rely on this space versus the people who use these spaces as just like a way to rake in profit. I thought a lot about, like the house I grew up in and the apartments that I've lived in, and kind of this idea of these buildings that are neglected by their owners and just kind of people get shoved in and people leave every year and the place kind of deteriorates and the rent goes up every year despite the fact that the place gets less and less habitable. As you go through the exhibition, you see where this illusion starts to break down and where parts of the buildings that are being mined out and torn out and undone. And so a lot of it is about, like, what is shelter for exactly? And it's not to make money. It's to protect people, and what do we protect? And so the systems that we have now protect money and protect people's ability to make money more than it does protect people's ability to live and have a safe place to live. I've never made anything this big. I've never really worked this long on a single project or a single series of things. But otherwise, I think it's pretty in keeping with the rest of my work.